What's going on, internets? Today I'm going to talk about how an artist makes money. Before I say anything, I want to really preface this video by saying a couple of different points. The first point is don't follow the money. If you're getting into art to follow the money, don't. You really can't follow the money as an artist, because when you follow the money, it creates bad art. You always just want to focus on the art and what you love to do and how you want to express yourself and what you want to communicate through your work. Money is just a byproduct of you making great art, so never follow the money. And if you want to follow money, become a banker, become a doctor, become something else other than an artist. Isn't that guaranteed? The second point I really want to emphasize is that every artist is different. So typing in and seeing a video that says, how does an artist make money? You're not going to find sort of a consistent way that an artist makes money. There's a huge difference between an artist like maybe David Garibaldi, who does a lot of commercial work, a lot of live performance type work, is big on social media, and an artist like Jordan Castillo, who's more in the studio realm, to the traditional realm, the museums and residencies. He also teaches. So those two artists are very different in terms of how they generate an income. So whatever you sort of hear from me today, it is not going to be consistent with every artist. It is just going to be sort of the way I generate income. And I like to use the phrase, how do I generate income? Mainly because at the beginning, like I said, you don't want to follow the money. Basically, I love to do my work, but I generate income to support my practice and the art that I like to do. And I gather resources to do the work that I like to do. So I'm not really chasing the money. I'm not thinking about how can I make money. I'm always thinking about how can I generate income to support myself and my practice. So let's get into how I generate income as an artist. So the first way I generate income is through commission work. Commission work is basically when someone asks you or requests that you do a certain type of work or a certain sort of project that they have. And they come to you, or you apply through an application process. Maybe it's a commission through the city, but I always do commissions throughout the year to generate income. A lot of times those commissions are really big, so developers and sort of construction sites and businesses and big brands, but also smaller clients, like maybe it's a collector that, you know, bought a piece of mine a year ago, or maybe it's someone new who just discovered my work and they want me to do a commission in their house, or a commission for their office, or a commission, you know, that they can hang up in their home. So commission work is really big. So that accounts for a large part of how I bring in income. And I love to do commissions mainly because it's sort of, I tap into a different network, and when I'm working with a bigger client, those commissions are seen everywhere. So I love doing a lot of those commissions because a lot of times they come to me to commission the work in my style. So I'm able to have a lot of creative freedom, especially when you're sort of growing into your voice and your style. A lot of times those commissions will come to you. When you're starting out, it's really difficult to get the commissions because not a lot of people have seen your work and you're sort of just trying to get started. But that is just one way that I generate income to support my practice. The second way that I generate income for my practice is through grants. So grants are basically funding and resources given out by municipalities, cities, governments, states, basically nonprofits, to help support a specific cause. And for our cause, it's going to be the arts and culture. So getting grants related to arts and culture is something that I always look for. Grants will range in the amount or the resources given. So it could be, you know, a couple $100, or it could be, you know, $100,000, but they usually are given out to support a specific project, your project, research. So grants come in all forms and sizes, but you really have to look out for that. So that is something that I do throughout the year, looking for different grants. There's a grant in my local city that I apply for every year that helps me do murals around the city, so I don't have to pay for supplies or sort of paint. I'm able to gain a grant and have them pay for it. So I'm sort of reducing the amount of expenses that I have. Residencies are another way that I support my practice. So residencies are basically opportunities given out by nonprofits and organizations, mainly arts organizations, that will allow artists to travel to a place or to work work in a place or live in a place and sort of just work on their art. And sometimes they're project based, sometimes they're really loose and you can do whatever you want to, but they're all different. I did an art residency in Launapole, France for a month, and they provided me a place to stay, a stipend, but also a place to work as well. Partnerships and sponsorships are a great way, especially nowadays when artists are becoming their own advocates. So partnerships and sponsorships will help you in terms of funding and resources for big projects that you really want to do. So this past year I did a project with Red Bull, and it was called Red Bull Presents Detour's Five Corners. So that was my project name, the Five Corners. And they basically paid for my idea to come to life. I was basically going to them with this proposal, with this idea. They loved it and they funded everything. So now I don't have to come out of pocket for expenses or, you know, labor or fabrication costs. I was able to partner with Red Bull and they were able to support everything. Sponsorships are very similar to partnerships. I see them more as material based because, you know, if I'm working on a project and I'm using a material, I may reach out to that company to see if there's an opportunity to sponsor that material that I'm using so that I don't have to pay for it. So a lot of times when artists talk about sort of income, sometimes it's all about sort of reducing your expenses, or how do I get my idea made without having to dig into my own pocket. So partnerships and sponsorships are really big when it comes to that. Royalties and usage fees are huge. So let's say, for example, I do a large mural in the street and a company wants to do a commercial in front of it because they like the way it looks, they like the background. They will pay me a usage fee just to shoot the commercial in front of my mural. And that is happening more and more today. So that's why I really like this sort of avenue when it comes to generating income, because I can do a large street art project and still generate income, because a lot of the street art projects that I do are basically self-funding because I like a wall and I'll figure out a way to paint it. But then there's opportunities, like I said, with usage fees to where companies will pay you to use your work. Also, you know, usage fees when it comes to things like merchandise, or royalties when it comes to merchandise. So when a brand wants to sort of use your work to put on a t-shirt or, you know, a mug or, you know, a bag, you know, in their commercial or in their marketing materials, they'll pay you royalties or a usage fees for that. So I bring in income through that way as well, which is, like I said, is really great for me because I am able to do the work, but I'm also able to still live off of that work even after I sort of completed that original sort of piece. So prints are another way that I generate income for my practice. And prints are basically, when I do an original piece, I'll make sure I capture a high resolution image of it so that I'm able to make, you know, smaller prints or reproductions of that original piece. I like doing that because although I love doing the original, not everyone can afford the original piece. Not everyone can sort of buy that piece at that price that I want to. So I'm able to make prints of the work, that original work, and sort of distribute that as well. I like it because it reaches a larger number of people. It's not just one piece, the original, in someone's home. It's multiple pieces in multiple homes. So I'm able to sort of widen my network when it comes to my collector base, and they feel more connected with me because they have a piece of mine on their wall rather than just, you know, seeing my work online or in the streets when it comes to murals or just like on Instagram. Prints and copies of my work account for probably 10 to 20% of my income. A lot of times it will fluctuate. Anything that I do will fluctuate from year to year. That's one thing you really have to understand as an artist. Nothing is ever consistent. So my print work will sometimes jump up and sometimes go down, but prints are something that I rely heavily on throughout the year. So the last way that I bring in income to my practice is through lectures and speeches. So because I like to talk a lot and my work is out there everywhere, a lot of times professors and sort of organizations will ask me to come into their space and talk to their students or to their staff or to, you know, whoever they want me to do a presentation, whatever. That really is something that I sort of look forward to because I'm able to tap into new networks and I'm able to do something a little bit different rather than just making work. I like to talk a lot sometimes, so I'm able to also, you know, tell people about my work who may not know my work or may want to know more about my work. So I like doing speeches and lectures. It's something that I think a lot of artists sometimes overlook or just don't even think about, but lectures and speeches are something that, you know, I rely on, you know, throughout the year, especially when school is in, when there's like a semester happening. When it does happen, I'm able to help pay for other projects and the things that I do just because I went out there for 2 hours at a time to talk to students. So that is another way that I bring in income. So those are the different ways that I generate income in my practice. And like I said at the beginning, every artist is going to be different. So you really have to figure out what type of artist do you want to be? What does your lifestyle, your practice look like in the future, 5 years from now? And figure out ways where you can sort of generate income to support your practice, but never follow the money. Make sure you do the work that you want to do, or else you're just gonna be another artist that does work that looks like everything else, and then, you know, you end up, you know, being an artist that, you know, just draws Instagram models all day, and you don't want to do that. I mean, you can do it, but if you want to do the work that you want to do, focus on creating the work that you want to do, because there is a market out there for you. And when you do that, you're going to sort of grow that sort of base of supporters that really want to see you thrive and want to follow you and support you. And that's when you really are sort of being successful, is when you're doing the work that you want to, and you have a fan base, a collector base that are able to support you. So hopefully that helped you out today. Make sure you subscribe and like and hit that bell notification so you know when I post a video up, and I will see you next time. Peace.